With the ongoing pandemic, what were once little everyday decisions seem so much bigger now, and the result for many is just flat-out emotional exhaustion. I talked with licensed clinical marriage and family therapist Justin Baston on how to work through it. It's like every decision we make right now feels like a life and death decision. Kind of help us out with what moral fatigue is, and how often are you seeing this in your clients?
Well, man, moral fatigue is just absolutely exhausting. And I want to be able to kind of start off discussing that and how it really kind of wears down on you just from the time that we've been really struggling with this for weeks or even for more than a month with COVID-19. This feeling and really kind of looking at kind of the ripple effects with all of our decisions absolutely wears us down. I've honestly seen this affect quite a few people. Even yesterday, I was just talking with somebody at the hospital and her anxiety and her fear with even her children, like being able to touch a box without it being properly sanitized. I think it really pushed her to be able to show up in a way that she wished that she didn't show up. And for a lot of people, this just wears you down and really kind of pushes us to this place of like fear and anxiety really kind of taking over.
Well, with a lot of this being brought on by the pandemic, we understand that, but are there biological factors associated with moral fatigue as well?
Absolutely. And so when I was reading about moral fatigue and learning more and more about this cool term, what I'm finding is that it actually is associated a lot with our amygdala. And so our amygdala is just kind of that tiny little almond-shaped piece in our brain that among its many functions, it's actually associated with just being the threat center of our brain. And so when we are under threat, this little piece in our brain is just wiring and just firing like crazy. And what's interesting is that our forebrain is actually not activated whatsoever. And so our forebrain, that's in charge of like really complex thinking and reasoning, to where when we are being morally fatigued, when we are exhausted, when we're triggered, we're just surviving and we're focusing on surviving.
What other factors kind of fuel that moral fatigue or bring us up to that point where we feel triggered, I guess, towards that more fatigued, that more anxiety, that more stress-heavy type lifestyle?
What I find is that we're actually really triggered when we kind of see how interdependent and how really connected we are as a society. That with each of these decisions, it doesn't only affect us, it can affect the people that we love and that we cherish the most.
Good information from Justin there. And I totally unplugged this last weekend, and I did numbers for my productivity, I think. So it's good to take a step back and take a look at the big picture sometimes.